Welcome, everyone. You've given us some really fantastic material for this deep dive, a whole course overview, actually, and its modules on generative AI, really zeroing in on prompt engineering.
Yeah, it's quite comprehensive. And our mission today, well, it's pretty straightforward, really. We want to boil down what prompt engineering actually is, why it's so important right now with AI, and, how different ways of prompting can totally change what you get back from these AI models.
Exactly. Giving you the practical stuff you can use quickly.
Right, without getting tangled up in all the super technical details.
Because, generative AI is just everywhere now, isn't it? Content, code, research, even just daily tasks.
It really is.
And looking through these sources, it seems like prompt engineering is like the absolute key, the thing that unlocks what these tools can really do.
That's a great way to put it. It's the interface, the communication layer.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Starting with Module 1, the fundamentals. What, at its core, is a prompt? And why is prompt engineering a whole field now?
Okay, so a prompt is basically the input, right? The instruction, the question, the starting point you give to an AI model.
Like the cue.
Exactly. It's the spark. Could be a direct command, like write a poem, or maybe a question, or even a couple examples to show it what you're aiming for.
Got you. So it's the initial direction.
Yep.
And prompt engineering, that's the skill of crafting those directions well. It's not just typing whatever comes to mind.
Precisely. It's really about learning how to talk effectively to these AI systems, how to harness their power for, well, all sorts of things, from simple questions to really complex creative tasks.
And the sources stress this makes a real difference.
Oh, absolutely. A
Okay.
well-engineered prompt. That's the difference between getting something kind of generic, maybe even useless, and getting something actually valuable, insightful, or, genuinely creative.
Okay. And it's not just text prompts, right?
Yeah.
The materials mention other types.
That's a key point. Yeah, we often think of text like, tell me a story about, but prompts can be code too. You might ask for a Python script for data cleaning. Or with image and video models becoming so good, you have image prompts like create a logo for a coffee shop, vintage style, or video prompts, maybe generate a 5-second clip of rain falling on a city street at night.
So the prompt type matches the AI's capability. Text for text AI, code for code AI.
Exactly. Depends on the model and what it's built for.
Now, the sources distinguish between structured and unstructured prompts. That seems important for, like, how much control you have.
It really is. Structured prompts are, well, structured. You give very clear, specific instructions. Often you even tell it the format for the answer.
Like, summarize this in 3 bullet points.
Perfect example, you're giving it a tight framework. Unstructured prompts are more open-ended, more like, what are your thoughts on renewable energy? You give the AI more freedom there.
So, structured for specifics, unstructured for brainstorming or broader ideas.
That's generally the idea, yeah. And the course really hammers home how much good prompts matter. They directly affect relevance, accuracy, even how coherent the output is.
Yeah, I think we've all had those weird AI answers where you think, where did that come from? Poor prompting, maybe.
Very likely. A vague or misleading prompt can easily lead to outputs that are just off or plain wrong.
Okay, so customization comes up next. Things like zero-shot and few-shot prompting. What are those about?
Right. These are techniques to sort of fine-tune the model's performance for your specific need right there in the prompt. Zero shot is when you ask it to do something without giving it any examples first.
Just relying on its general knowledge.
Exactly. Like asking it to translate good morning to French. You assume it already knows how from its training. It's relying purely on its pre-existing knowledge base.
Simple enough for things it already knows well. What about few-shot then?
Few shot is where you do give it examples, maybe 1, 2, or a few examples within the prompt itself, showing the input and the kind of output you want.
Ah, like showing your work first.
Kind of. So for translation, you might give it si otter le tour de mer, cheese fromage, and then ask, translate butterfly.
So you're giving it a little mini lesson right there.
You got it. It's really helpful for more complex things, or if you want a very specific style or format that you demonstrate in those examples, it guides the AI much more strongly.
Okay, zero-shot relies on existing knowledge. Few-shot gives it hints. And the core idea of prompt engineering, the sources say, is this cycle of design, refinement, testing. Sounds quite methodical.
It absolutely is. Very iterative. You start with a prompt, you look at the output, you think, not quite, and then you tweak the prompt. refine it, try again.
The goal being more control, better accuracy, relevance.
And even reducing biases. Yeah, it's about honing the communication to get precisely what you need.
Yeah, and zero shot, few shot, those are tools in that refinement toolbox.
Key tools, yes.
Okay, the overview then jumps into applications across different areas. This really shows the breadth. Let's talk content generation first.
Sure, so instead of just write about cloud storage, a good prompt might be, say, compose a 500-word blog post explaining the main benefits of cloud storage, cost-effectiveness, security, and accessibility for small business owners. Use a friendly, reassuring tone.
Wow, yeah. Much more targeted. The detail makes the difference.
Huge difference. Detail guides the AI to give you focused, useful content.
And for social media, instead of tweet about our restaurant.
Right. You'd prompt something like, generate 3 engaging tweets for a new vegan cafe opening. Tweet 1, highlight the organic ingredients. Tweet 2, mention the cozy atmosphere and free Wi-Fi. Tweet 3, announce a 15% opening day discount. Include hashtag vegan life and hashtag local city eats.
Instantly usable content. Very cool. What about creative writing?
Same principle applies. Write a short story about a time traveler stranded in ancient Egypt, focus on mystery and adventure, end the story on a compelling cliffhanger. That gives the AI much more to work with than just write a time travel story.
Yeah, setting the scene, the tone, the ending, product descriptions.
Absolutely. Craft a concise product description under 75 words for noise-canceling headphones. Emphasize long battery life, comfort for extended wear, and immersive sound quality. Target audience, young adults. Specificity is key.
Okay, moving to programming. Seems like a natural fit.
Definitely. Instead of just make a sort function, you'd ask for, say, generate a Python function that implements bubble sort for a list of numbers in ascending order. Include comments explaining the logic.
Much more useful. What else in programming?
Code translation is a big one. Translate this JavaScript function insert code here into equivalent Python code, or debugging help. I'm getting a type error in this Python snippet insert code. Can you explain why and suggest a fix?
Like having a coding buddy.
Sort of, even using APIs. Write a short Python script using the OpenAI API to generate a haiku about the moon. You specify the tool, the task, the desired output.
Okay, and for research. Seems like it could speed things up dramatically.
Huge potential there. Think about prompting. Summarize the key findings from recent research, last 5 years, on the impact of social media use on adolescent mental health.
Wow. Instead of reading dozens of papers initially.
Exactly. Or analyze this data set, provide data or link to find potential correlations between levels of education and income. Present findings as a table and a short summary paragraph.
Data analysis on command. Hypothesis generation.
Yep. Generate 3 testable hypotheses regarding the effects of climate change on coastal erosion rates. Or information retrieval. Find the latest advancements in quantum computing reported in major scientific journals, provide summaries and links.
It's like a superpowered research assistant. Finally, automation.
Loads of applications, generating standard emails like draft a professional email confirming a meeting scheduled for date at time to discuss agenda topic at location.
Takes the routine workout, report generation.
Yeah. Generate a sales report for the last quarter using data source. Include total revenue, profit margin, and customer acquisition cost, present charts for key trends. Or even chatbot design. Design the conversational flow for a chatbot answering FAQs about our company's return policy.
Guiding the chatbot's logic.
Right. And even system tasks. Create a script like Bash or PowerShell that automatically backs up the My Documents folder to an external drive every day at midnight.
So across the board, effective prompts are the gateway. The first module wraps up with best practices for writing these prompts. What are the big ones?
Okay, number 1, clarity and specificity. Super important.
Less ambiguity.
Exactly. Instead of explain AI, try explain the difference between supervised and unsupervised machine learning, providing one simple example of each. Precision avoids vague, unhelpful answers.
Makes sense. What else?
Context and constraints. Huge. Just saying, summarize this is okay, but summarize this article on AI ethics in under 100 words, focusing on the challenges of algorithmic bias, gives the AI crucial context and a boundary. It knows what to focus on and how long to make it.
Guiding its attention.
Yeah.
Okay. Role-based prompting also came up.
Yes. This is a really powerful one. Starting with, as a cybersecurity expert, explain the importance of end-to-end encryption. Tells the AI who it should be.
So it adopts a persona.
It tries to, yeah. Affects the tone, the depth, the perspective, makes the output sound more authoritative or tailored.
Fascinating. Specifying the output format.
Also key, don't just ask for info, ask for it how you want it. List the top 5 benefits in bullet points. Provide a comparison in a table format. Write a concise single-paragraph summary. Ensures the structure matches your needs.
So what you want and how you want it. The material also mentions iteration.
Absolutely critical. It's rare to get the perfect prompt first time. Often, you start general, see what you get back, then refine. Add detail, change wording, add constraints. It's a process.
An experimental loop. And finally, avoiding bias and ambiguity.
Crucial. Use neutral language. Instead of, why is this policy bad? Maybe, analyze the potential drawbacks of this policy. Keeps it objective. Clear language throughout avoids misinterpretation. Constraints also help here. Write in a professional tone. Summarize in exactly 50 words. It tightens things up.
Strong fundamentals there. Okay, Module 2 dives into specific techniques. We've touched on zero shot and few shot, but maybe a deeper look.
Yeah, definitely worth revisiting the trade-offs. Zero shot is easy, right? Just ask. Good for simple stuff, general knowledge. But its limits show up with complex or very niche tasks.
Because it's just relying on its training data.
Exactly. Few shot, giving those examples, provides that crucial in-context guidance. Better accuracy, better consistency, especially for nuanced things or specific styles.
But more work up front to create the examples.
Right. And it needs good examples. Plus, it uses more input tokens, which can matter. And sometimes, even with examples, the AI might not generalize perfectly to a totally new variation of the task. So yeah, trade-offs. Complexity and control needs often dictate which way you lean.
Makes sense. Weighing ease versus guidance. Now, text-to-text techniques. What falls under this?
So these are all about taking input text and transforming it into a different structured text output. Several types mentioned. Rewriting and reformatting is one.
Like simplifying jargon.
Exactly. Take a dense scientific sentence, ask the AI to rewrite it for a high school student, improves accessibility.
Very useful. What else?
Summarization and extraction. We touched on this. Summarize this long email thread into 3 key action items, or extract all company names mentioned in this news article.
Pulling out specific information.
Right. And role-based text generation again fits here, generating text as a specific persona. The key theme is manipulating text structure and content for a specific purpose. More precision, better formatting.
Okay, the interview pattern approach sounds intriguing.
It's pretty neat. Basically, structuring prompts like a Q&A session. Good for generating FAQs, simulating interviews, or pulling out info in that conversational format.
How does it work in practice?
You might prompt it like, you are a hiring manager. I am an AI specialist candidate. Ask me 5 key questions about my experience with natural language processing. Then you can either provide the answers or have the AI generate plausible answers as the candidate.
So you're scripting a dialogue.
Essentially, yes. It forces a structure that's great for interview prep, creating knowledge-based articles, or just organizing information logically through questions and answers.
Clever. Now, chain of thought. This sounds important for logical tasks.
Hugely important, especially for math, logic puzzles, step-by-step problem solving. The idea is to make the AI show its work.
Not just jump to the answer.
Exactly. Instead of just asking, what is 27 times 43, you'd prompt, solve 27 times 43 step by step, explaining each calculation.
And it would break it down, like, first, multiply 7 by 3.
Ideally, yes. It outputs the reasoning process. This helps you see how it got the answer, catch errors, and it actually seems to improve the AI's accuracy on complex reasoning tasks. Prevents it from taking faulty shortcuts.
Transparency in the reasoning. Crucial. Then there's tree of thought. Sounds even more complex.
It kind of builds on chain of thought. Instead of just one reasoning path, you encourage the AI to explore multiple potential paths or options simultaneously.
Like brainstorming different angles.
Exactly. Great for complex decision-making where there isn't one right answer, or creative tasks. Imagine asking, what's the best strategy to reduce plastic waste? A tree of thought prompt might guide it to explore legislative options, technological solutions, consumer behavior changes, analyze pros and cons of each branch, then conclude.
So it considers alternatives before deciding.
Right. It explores a tree of possibilities, leads to more diverse, well-reasoned, and comprehensive answers compared to just following one line of thought.
Fascinating. Encouraging broader thinking. Module 2 wraps with a summary table, right?
Yeah, just a quick recap. Zero shot for speed, few shot for guidance, text-to-text for manipulation, interview for Q&A structure, chain of thought for logic steps, tree of thought for exploring options. The big takeaway is knowing these techniques and often combining them is how you really start mastering interaction with these powerful AI tools. Get those precise context-aware results.
Excellent overview of the toolkit. All right, Module 3 gets hands-on with labs and brings in expert views. First up, image generation labs.
Right. This is where you'd play with tools like DLE, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion. The core exercise is seeing the difference between a simple prompt and a really detailed one.
Like cat versus...
Versus a photorealistic image of a fluffy tabby cat sleeping peacefully on a worn velvet armchair in a cozy sunlit library, soft focus background, cinematic lighting.
Okay, yeah, big difference in expected output. Detail is everything.
Absolutely. The more specific you are about the subject, action, setting, style, even lighting and composition, the closer the AI gets to what's in your head.
The labs also cover style experiments.
Yeah, like asking for the same scene, say, a futuristic cityscape but rendered in different styles, cyberpunk neon, watercolor painting, 3D animation. Shows how style keywords transform the image.
And controlling composition.
Right. Prompting for a night standing in a forest versus a lone night on a black horse silhouetted against a large full moon in a dark forest, low-angle shot. Small changes in the prompt dramatically alter the scene's framing and mood.
So these labs really drive home how much influence the text prompt has on the visual output. Similar principles for the video generation lab.
Exactly the same idea, but applied to motion. Comparing dog running to golden retriever running in slow motion through a sun-drenched park, shallow depth of field, 4K cinematic quality.
Again, detail adds richness and specifies the feel.
Totally. The lab explores prompting for camera movements too, like static shot of a spaceship versus slow zoom in on a spaceship docking, or dynamic tracking shot following a spaceship through an asteroid field.
Telling the AI how to film the scene.
You got it. And scene transitions as well. Scene 1, Knight walks through Castle Hall. Fade transition to Scene 2, Knight sits on the throne. Specifying transitions improves the narrative flow.
So just like images, prompt details dictate not just what happens in the video, but the cinematography too. Now the lab comparing naive versus persona prompting sounds really insightful.
It really clarifies the power of role-playing. Step 1 is a basic naive prompt. Explain artificial intelligence. What you usually get is, well, pretty generic, high level, maybe a bit rambling.
Okay, the default response.
Then, step 2, add a persona. You are an AI researcher specializing in deep learning. Explain AI in a structured manner, focusing on its key components like neural networks and applications in computer vision, targeting an audience of computer science students.
And the difference is noticeable.
Usually, yes. The response becomes more detailed, technically grounded, better organized. The persona guides it towards a more expert-like, relevant answer.
Telling it who to be sharpens the focus.
Exactly. The lab even suggests trying different personas for the same topic. Explain AI's impact. As a business consultant focused on ROI versus as an ethicist concerned with societal implications versus as a healthcare professional looking at diagnostic tools.
And the AI adapts its angle based on the role.
That's the goal, yeah. It tailors the content, the examples, the emphasis to fit the assigned perspective, better contextual accuracy.
Then there's a practical scenario. Writing about climate change for different audiences.
Right, generic prompt, write about climate change. Okay, probably basic facts. But then, persona prompts. As an environmental scientist, write a data-heavy summary for a scientific journal. Or, as a journalist, write an engaging article for the general public. Or, as a policy advisor, outline actionable recommendations for legislators.
And the results are significantly different. Tailored.
That's the key observation, yes. The persona makes the output much more relevant and effective for the intended purpose. The summary table contrasts naive, basic, unstructured with persona, tailored expertise, context-aware. Huge difference.
Clearly demonstrates the value of persona prompting. Okay, finally, this module brings in viewpoints from actual experts in the AI field.
Yeah, it's great to see their perspectives. Andrei Karpathy, for example, really sees prompt engineering as a core skill now, almost like coding, for getting good performance and reducing errors or bias.
So a fundamental skill for working with AI.
Definitely. Feifei Lai talks about balancing control and creativity using structured prompts for facts, maybe more open ones for brainstorming.
Finding the right level of guidance.
Ilya Sutskever emphasizes that iterative refinement we talked about, trying, testing, tweaking prompts for optimization.
The experimental side again.
And Dario Amodei highlights how techniques like few shot and chain of thought help models produce more coherent, logical, and complex responses.
Building on those techniques we discussed, What about ethical considerations?
Timnit Gebru's perspective is crucial here, warning about bias creeping in through prompts and the need for careful ethical design.
A really important point. Who else?
Sundar Pichai sees prompt engineering as reshaping how we find information, moving beyond keywords to more conversational interaction. Chris Latner notes its importance for AI coding tools. Vague versus specific code requests make a huge difference.
Yeah, we saw that in the examples.
And Richard Socher talks about unlocking creative potential in writing, marketing design through well-crafted prompts.
So across the board, these leaders see prompt engineering as vital for technical results, ethical use, and creative applications. It's not just a trick, it's fundamental.
That's the clear message.
We've really covered a lot. The course materials, as you mentioned, wrap up with a final project, quizzes, glossary, and a look to the future.
Yeah, the final project is about applying these skills, maybe building an AI tool for summarizing reviews or generating marketing ideas. Practical application.
And the quizzes reinforce the concepts.
Exactly. Check understanding of the terms, the best practices, the different techniques like zero shot, few shot, chain of thought.
And a glossary is always handy in AI.
Definitely. Helps keep the terminology straight. LLMs, prompt engineering, all that.
Okay, and that final discussion prompt about the future of prompts, what kind of questions does it raise?
Oh, some really interesting ones, like, will AI get so good it optimizes prompts for us? Will we need less detailed input? Could happen.
Maybe.
How will better AI reasoning change how we interact? Could AI start generating its own prompts to explore ideas, collaborating with us in new ways?
Wow. AI prompting itself.
It's a possibility being explored. And if prompt engineering as we know it becomes less manual, what skills will be important for guiding these advanced systems? Big questions.
Really makes you think about where this is all heading. The relationship between us and AI is clearly evolving fast. Okay, this has been an incredibly thorough deep dive. Let's maybe recap the biggest takeaways.
Absolutely. I think the main thing is that prompt engineering isn't just a side skill. It's foundational for anyone wanting to really leverage generative AI effectively.
It's more than just typing a question.
Much more. It's about clear communication, using the right techniques strategically, and that constant process of refining and iterating.
And getting familiar with the different approaches, basic commands, giving examples with few shot, using personas, guiding reasoning with chain of thought. That's what empowers you to get way more precise, useful, and even creative results from AI.
Couldn't agree more. Which brings us nicely to that final thought for our listeners to chew on.
Go for it.
Okay, so building on those expert views and the future discussion, as these AI models keep getting smarter, how will our role in guiding them adapt? Will prompt engineering become more about setting high-level goals and context, letting the AI figure out the details?
Less hand-holding, maybe.
Perhaps. Or will the sheer nuance of human intent, our specific needs and creative sparks, always require us to craft that careful starting point, that specific prompt, no matter how advanced the AI gets?
Will the human touch in crafting the initial instruction always be necessary?
That's the question. Something to definitely ponder as we all continue to interact with and shape the future of AI.